Yeah, if we could throw it back to a few years ago with that D line, I would very much enjoy
Yeah.
that. Uh, um, and I have a topic. Speaking of recruiting, this goes hand in hand with that. That I kind of want to bring up. I spent my Saturday night doing a bunch of research and making a spreadsheet like a loser. But through that, I have decided that WSU is the best recruiting school in the Pac-12. Yes, you heard me. Clip this out, put it on social media. Every other school in the Pac-12 needs to hear this. WSU is the best school in the Pac-12 at recruiting. And I don't mean, I don't mean being in LA and getting a 5-star and then him being good. I think that there's a lot of value in recruiting because WSU is kind of at a lot of inherent disadvantages. We don't have the facilities and the location that a lot of these schools have. But, if you look at it, so I've collected some data over the from 2015 to 2019. WSU got 5 and 4-star recruits combined. And spoiler alert, they're all 4 stars. We don't get 5 stars here in Pullman. The only school that got lower than us, that got fewer, was Oregon State with 3. And I'm surprised that they got
Go
3.
figure.
Um,
Yep.
and it's and then looking at conference wins in that same span, WSU 27 conference wins. That's more than Oregon, who had 42 5 and 4-star recruits during that time. It's only less than a handful of schools. I think, that's fifth. So if you just look at it as a team overall, WSU does the best with what they've got. And I even looked further at an individual player standpoint. I went through the Pac-12 first and second teams for the past 5 years, and seeing what kind of recruits ended up on there. WSU is the only school to get a 1 or 0-star recruit onto that first team. I'm counting Gardner Minshew as a 0-star recruit because he was about to be a backup before Mike Leach plucked him from obscurity. So he counts as a 0-star recruit for me. Um, you know, if you
Go
look at
harsh.
two and below, they're the only school that has had multiple people make the first team that are 2 stars and below. You're looking at Luke Falk and Joe Dahl in 2015. They were 2 stars. So if you look at it, they've had 19 berths on these first and second All Pac-12 teams from 14 players, and a majority of them are from 3 stars. But they have got the best at getting these, 2, 1, 0-star recruits. And this isn't even counting some of these guys that ended up that didn't make these teams that have been really good. They're 3 stars, but Max Borghi, Jahad Woods, these guys didn't end up on one of these teams, but they're elite Pac-12 players. WSU basically has to do with a bunch of 3 stars and below. They don't have the opportunity, or they do, but they don't get these players that Washington and Oregon and USC and these schools get. One school I want to call out for being terrible, actually a few schools, is Arizona. One player in the past 5 years to make an All Pac-12 team, and you're in Arizona, like you can't do better than here in Pullman. Um, you know, Colorado's had 12. Arizona State's had 12. Cal's had 8. Oregon State's had 4. And these are schools that recruit very similarly to WSU. Some of them have had better recruits than WSU, but WSU has had more players make these teams. So more individual success and more team success than all these teams. So I think if you're looking at it, I'm not. If you go by 5-star recruits, then yeah, WSU isn't that good at recruiting. But I don't go by that. I go by value recruiting. I go by if you can get these guys who, you're getting that fit your system that might not be the guys that every team's going after, and they're turning them, into these great players. So I think that's why WSU is the best recruiting team in the Pac-12. They get the best value out of their recruits, and all you other Dash Sports podcast hosts, prove me wrong. Make a better spreadsheet than me. I've got the numbers. Come at me. I'm right. You're wrong. Whatever you